Breaking news, a CNN source believes the Stormy Daniels situation potentially poses a bigger threat to Donald Trump's presidency than the Russia investigation. That, as Stormy Daniels says, she wants to give back the $130,000 payment she received to keep quiet about an alleged affair with Donald Trump. I want to bring in now a defense attorney, Joe Tacopina, and CNN legal commentator, Ken Cuccinelli. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me this evening. A source close to the president says the president has been asking confidants how he should handle the Stormy Daniels situation. He is being told by advisors to keep quiet and not to fight her or breaking this confidentiality agreement because it would make him look guilty. So, Joe, aside from politics, are there legal landmines that President Trump tweets or speaks out about this?
I mean, yeah, the legal land. Look, here's the worst that could happen. She gets to go out there and tell her story. And tell it, and whatever facts come out of it, which I don't think anyone's going to be shocked by at this point, she gets to tell. I mean, that's the legal landmines. What's going to keep happening if they keep posturing the way they're posturing, and his lawyer says one thing, and his press secretary says another, and he says something else, is that the story continues to grow and gain steam. And that's the problem. I've said all along, if he had just come out and said, yeah, I did, so what? And just chalk that up to another one of the things on his list of minor scandals, he gets through.
Right. Ken, are you in agreement with that? Sounds like you are.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem here, I mean, you've got lawyers on with you, but the legal problem isn't their biggest problem. I mean, if there's an agreement in place, the agreement says whatever it may say, right. But it's not like there's any criminality threat here. And the biggest problem for the president is the continual talking about it. And clearly, right. She has now changed her mind about taking $130,000 and not talking about it. She wants to go talk about it because there's a lot more in it for her that way. Now, it may be that 2 or 3 weeks before the election, she thought, well, this guy's never going to win. I can get $130,000 out of this. But things look a little different today.
But you both agree, which is a bit shocking. But the thing is, I know his representatives are frustrated by this, meaning the president. I'm sure he is frustrated by this. And I think that from what I hear, from my experience, they're frustrated with the wrong thing. They shouldn't be frustrated with whether it's legal or not, whether the agreement can hold up. They should be frustrated with the talk on television, in the media, by Stormy Daniels, by her attorney. That's the thing, right?
Her life. I mean, honestly, right. You know, yeah. I don't know Michael Cohen. I'm sure he's a fine lawyer, but he screwed up here. I mean, he just plain screwed up. He went out and he said something in front of a gauntlet of reporters, and he made a pronouncement that I paid the $130,000 from my own money, and the president doesn't know about the agreement.
Sort of forced Stormy Daniels' hands and said, "I want to."
He was the linchpin to causing her to get a lawyer and absolutely take legal action. This agreement is null and void in so many different directions at this point that there's no way the president's team of lawyers are going to be able to stop CBS, I believe it's CBS, from running the interview that they've done with Stormy Daniels. There's zero chance that that's happening.
Speaking of lawyers, Stormy Daniels' attorney last hour with me. Here's what he said about his client.
The veracity of this woman and her credibility is going to shock people. When and if she's able to tell her story, there is no doubt in my mind that the American people will believe her.
What do you think he means by that?
I think he means they're going to believe her. They will believe her. What he means by that is she has proof. Yeah. That's what he means. Let me decode that. Yeah. She has proof. She has proof in writing. Yeah. I'm sure she has other forms of proof. And there could be a bombshell back there.
If they're so frustrated, King, because, shouldn't they just come out? Shouldn't, Michael Cohen just come out and take some of the responsibility and say something? Or shouldn't someone say something instead of spinning and saying, well, we've addressed it, we really haven't addressed it?
I don't think they really know what to do. I mean, and they can't very well talk directly to Cohen about this and sit and plot because he's not their lawyer for this. I don't care what happens. So there's no privilege. And I agree that Cohen really screwed up here. You give him more credit than me as a potentially good lawyer. Maybe he is in some other regard, But oh man,
No,
this
Ken, you're
is
right.
just,
Look, I don't.
This
I don't.
is
All I'm saying is
sloppy,
I don't know the guy. I don't
messy,
need
it
to.
was done pathetically.
Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah,
it-
I'm not being critical of you. I think
no.
Cohen screwed this up 12 ways till Tuesday.
How? Talk to me
It's
about that.
sloppy,
Ken,
and
I'll
it's
give you-
ugly and cheap.
I'll give you a chance to. Why do you
Yeah.
Why do you
well,
say
look,
that, Ken?
if you're gonna do it, you don't set up LLCs with your name on it. You don't go talk in front of a bank of reporters. The lack of self-discipline, the lack of a coherent plan. This looks like he was shooting from the hip all the way along and not doing a very good job of it.
But wasn't the story leaked before he spoke? Wasn't the Wall Street Journal?
It was.
I think the rumors of this are 10 years old.
No, I'm talking about
when
the
goes out and talks like
talking
that.
about the money, the
I know
$130,000.
what you mean, but
Yeah.
but that's true. But he gives that oxygen. I mean, that was just crazy
Well, yeah,
and foolish.
he did, and what he also
and
did.
here
was,
we are talking about it.
What he did by saying what he said, which was, I paid the money out of my own private account. The president didn't know about it. I just did it to protect him. That violates the canons of ethics in New York State. It's illegal. So he's saying publicly, this agreement that I have is an illegal agreement. The president doesn't even know about it. The president can't be a party to an agreement he doesn't know about. No client can be. So there are so many reasons this agreement is null and void, aside from the fact that he didn't just sign it. That's one factor, but courts have ruled sometimes an unsigned agreement can be binding if both parties operate as if it were valid. Here, no parties are operating as if it's valid.
I don't mean this in a snarky way, but this is why people wonder, like, they say, why does the president always say I'm surrounded by the best people when there's such turnover in the White House? And
Oh my God. I mean,
right?
here's an example where, whatever he did, but the mess he's in right now is actually not because of his tweeting. It's not because he did something at 2 in the morning in a mad tweet. It's because his lawyer and then subsequently the press secretary for the White House, by the way, went and talked about an agreement that the president won that was supposed to be confidential in nature, so thereby violating any potential agreement anyway.
CNN caught up with Stormy Daniels over the weekend. She wouldn't answer questions about the lawsuit or comment on the alleged affair, but she did talk about the attention. Watch this.
Yes, I'm more in demand. And like I said in the Rolling Stone interview, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, you know that job you've been doing forever? How about next week I pay you quadruple? Show me one person who's going to say no.
So she is saying that the scandal is good for business. This back and forth, all this legal stuff that's keeping her name in the headlines, right, Ken?
You bet. Oh, absolutely. This is and look, she's regularly called porn star, but broaden it. She's in entertainment.
She's an artist.
That is what that is. Yes, she's an artist, and that is what's going on here. I mean, this is like Don King would be jealous of this kind of promotion. I mean, this is just pure self-interest, and I'm not even being critical
exactly
of that.
what Donald
She's
Trump
just
was an entertainer.
firing it up.
She's a she's a businesswoman and an entertainer. He's a businessman and an entertainer.
What is surreal is that we're actually sitting on CNN, your distinguished show, talking about this regarding the President of the United States.
National Enquirer
the President
stuff.
of the United States. This is what we're talking about. Had this been our last president and there was a scandal regarding
Pitchforks
paying off a porn star hush money and lying about it, the impeachment proceedings, we'd be talking about the third day of those already.
I would be turning down Republicans to come on this show. I'm sorry, we don't have enough time for you.
I'm sure you would be.
Exactly. Thank you all. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Great conversation. We come back. The president is releasing a watered-down gun control proposal after blasting other lawmakers for being scared of the NRA. Is he scared too?